You've been told you're just flesh and bone, a mere biological machine. That's a lie. At your core, you're a powerhouse, a vibrant energy humming at an incredibly high frequency, even if it feels static to the untrained eye. Picture yourself under a thermal camera in a dark room. You'd be glowing, radiating a pulsating brilliance. If you're fundamentally a ball of energy, why are you stuck in the same rut, the same financial struggles, the same repetitive cycle? It doesn't make sense, does it? That's the key they've always hidden from you. Everything in this universe vibrates at different frequencies, everything. The chair you're sitting on, your phone, the air you breathe, it's all energy in motion. What we perceive as wood, water, or metal isn't the substance itself, but the speed at which its particles vibrate. Wood, for instance, is still energy, it's just the frequency our senses interpret as wood. By altering that frequency, you change the manifestation of that energy. And here's the game changer they never told you: your life, your results, your finances, your relationships, it's all frequency. Feeling buried in debt, watching your earnings vanish, attracting people who doubt you, that's not bad luck, that's a frequency mismatch. You're tuned to the wrong station, like listening to a radio choked with static. Ever wonder why some people seem to magnetically attract opportunities while others constantly struggle? It's not intelligence, education, or luck. It's their vibrational frequency. Like a magnet attracts metal, the frequency you emit attracts harmonious circumstances. If you vibrate at a frequency of scarcity, what do you expect to attract? More scarcity. Vibrate at a frequency of prosperity, confidence, possibility, and life will have no choice but to respond in kind. I remember a time when I doubted all this. I worked myself ragged, pulling endless overtime, yet my life felt stagnant. It was like running on a treadmill, immense effort, zero progress. Then I realized action alone wasn't enough, I needed to change the frequency of my thoughts, my energy. The shift started simply: instead of focusing on what I didn't want, I began visualizing what I desired. By shifting my focus from debt to abundance, opportunities materialized in unexpected ways. You might be thinking, but I can't just flip a switch and change my frequency. It's not a switch, it's like tuning an instrument. Think of a guitar out of tune. No matter how hard or skillfully you play, the sound will be unpleasant. But by adjusting the strings, even a simple chord will sound harmonious. The same applies to you. Working harder won't help if you're out of tune with life. You need to adjust your frequency. Neuroscience shows that 80% of our daily thoughts are repetitive, and most of them are negative. Statistically, most people are wired to vibrate at a frequency of lack, fear, and doubt. No coincidence that most people experience the same problems year after year. How many times have you repeated phrases like, "Money doesn't grow on trees," "Life is hard," "I'm not good with numbers"? These aren't just words, they are frequency programs. And here's the powerful part: realizing you're constantly vibrating at a certain level means you can choose to vibrate at a different one. Instead of saying, "I can't pay my bills," try vibrating at a frequency of, "I'm finding creative solutions to thrive." It seems insignificant, but it's like changing the radio station. Gradually, you'll start picking up better melodies, clearer signals, more aligned opportunities. Many doubt this, saying, "I don't see anything changing." You won't initially. First, you must believe, vibrate, adjust to the new frequency, then reality will reorganize. It's like planting a seed. You don't dig it up the next day to see if it sprouted. You water it, trust it, wait, and then you harvest. Consider Oprah Winfrey. Born into poverty, facing profound trauma, she never allowed herself to vibrate at a victim frequency. She always vibrated at a future beyond her circumstances. Today, she's one of the most influential women in the world. It wasn't just talent, it was vibration. Look at the opposite: people who achieved fame and fortune quickly but vibrated at a frequency of insecurity, fear, and self-destruction. Elvis Presley, for example, couldn't maintain the abundance frequency the world saw in him because internally he vibrated at a frequency of lack and pain. The result was tragic. When you understand that everything is energy and your life reflects your frequency, there's no room to blame the economy, the government, your employer, or bad luck. The real question becomes, what station are you tuned to now? And more importantly, what station will you choose to tune to starting today? A thought that pops into your mind isn't just a random idea. It already exists elsewhere, at another frequency, in another dimension of reality. The question isn't if it's possible, but if you'll allow yourself to access it. Many people suppress their biggest ideas because they don't know how to achieve them. How many dreams have you buried for lack of a clear roadmap? But that how isn't your immediate responsibility. Your responsibility is to keep the vision alive, to nurture the idea within you until the right frequency reveals itself. I clearly remember deciding to quit my job. I had no education, no business plan, no confidence. Any observer would have said it was a guaranteed failure. But inside me was a persistent image. I saw myself in charge of my own thing, independent, free. It was a thought, but not just any thought. It was a pre-existing reality, and when I finally accepted that I didn't need to understand the entire journey, only believe in the vision, the opportunity arose. A cleaning business, seemingly small, insignificant, but in less than a year it generated over $100, 000, even $150, 000. And here's the crucial point, I didn't create that idea from nothing. I simply tuned into the frequency of something that already existed. The problem is most people don't trust their own minds. Notice how, when you imagine something grand, your inner voice says, "That's crazy, be realistic." That's where most people give up. But that voice isn't you. It's conditioning, the paradigm. The real you is the one who dreams, who sees beyond the obvious, who receives the thought. What separates those who triumph from those who remain stagnant isn't intelligence or luck, it's the courage to not stifle the vision when it arises. Think of Thomas Edison. He had a vision of an electric light bulb in an era reliant on candles. How many people must have ridiculed him? How many said it was impossible? But Edison didn't need to know how, he just trusted the vision and persevered, making mistakes, adjusting, until the frequency of the idea materialized into something tangible. Now compare that to yourself. How many ideas have passed through your mind that could have transformed your life, but you dismiss because they seem too big? Science has proven the human brain doesn't distinguish between a real experience and one intensely imagined. When you vividly visualize something, your brain releases the same neurotransmitters and activates the same neural networks as if it were already happening. This means that by sustaining a grand thought, you're literally training your body and mind to live in that reality before it even happens. Now do you understand why it's so risky to abandon a vision just because you don't see the path? The world is full of people suppressing their own ideas. How many inventors, artists, entrepreneurs could have transformed their communities but let their thoughts die in silence because they didn't know the how? And at the same time, how many visionaries were considered crazy until their creations changed the planet? Steve Jobs was fired from his own company, but he never stopped sustaining the vision he carried. The result? Apple became one of the most valuable brands in the world because he didn't silence the thought when he didn't know how to realize it. Let me ask, when have you believed in something seemingly impossible, but it wouldn't leave your mind? How many times did that thought return, insistent, demanding your attention? And what did you do? Ignore it? Laugh at yourself? Or try, even without all the answers? The difference between those who live their dream lives and those who survive on autopilot lies precisely in this, not silencing the thought when it arises. By understanding that every thought is a reality at another frequency, the game changes. You stop asking, is it possible, and start asking, what is the frequency of this reality, and how can I align myself with it? It's like tuning a radio, the music is already playing, but only by turning the dial do you hear it. Your dreams are already playing, but you'll only live them by learning to adjust your internal vibration. I challenge you, choose a vision that already resides within you today. It doesn't matter if it's starting a business, moving to a new country, writing a book, or achieving financial independence. Sustain that vision without demanding a complete plan from yourself. Treat it as real, talk about it, write about it, live as if it already exists. Do this for 30 days and observe what begins to happen. You'll notice that people, circumstances, and unexpected opportunities will begin to align. And then, you'll finally understand, the thought was never just a daydream. It was always a gateway to a reality that was already waiting for you. Life changes the moment your belief merges with the desired idea. This is the crucial point, because until then the dream is just an image, a vague possibility. But the moment you truly believe, when your mind and heart say, "This is it," a fusion occurs, and reality begins to reorganize around that decision. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. Suddenly, things that were previously invisible begin to appear. People, circumstances, ideas. Everything moves. But let's be honest, how many times have you stopped believing just because it seemed impossible? How many times have you dreamed of something bigger, but given up soon after because you didn't have the answers? That's the trap most people fall into. They only believe when they have guarantees, when they can see the whole path. But life doesn't work that way. Steve Jobs said you never connect the dots looking forward, only looking back. You need to trust that the dots will connect. That's exactly it. First you believe, then the path reveals itself. I've experienced this countless times. There was a time when I set out to achieve results that, to any outside observer, were completely irrational. I didn't have the money, the connections, the experience. All I had was unwavering belief. And it was impressive to see what happened after I decided to merge with that idea. People started appearing in my life, offering support, paths, solutions I would never have imagined on my own. None of this would have happened if I had stifled the dream before believing. You might be thinking, but I've tried believing before, and it didn't work. Believing isn't just repeating affirmations or sticking notes on the wall. Believing is feeling it in your body, living the emotion of the already accomplished. By placing yourself in the state of consciousness where it's already true, you change your energy, your posture, your daily choices. And by changing internally, the external world inevitably responds. How many times have you noticed that when you're confident, everything flows, but when you're insecure, even simple things go wrong? It's not a coincidence. It's frequency, it's the fusion between belief and reality. I propose a simple but transformative challenge. Choose an idea that resides within you, one of those you've always considered too grand or distant. For 7 days, treat that idea as if it were already real. Act as if you are living it now. If it's prosperity, start walking and talking like a prosperous person. If it's a healthy relationship, feel like someone who already has it. If it's a new project, organize your day like someone who already leads it. It's not about pretending, but aligning. By placing yourself in this state, your mind begins to create paths that were previously blocked by fear and doubt. Think of how many transformation stories you've heard that began with an unwavering decision. Walt Disney, for example, went bankrupt twice before creating the empire we know. He could have given up, but he believed so much in the vision of a magical world that nothing stopped him. And why do so many people with incredible potential never get anywhere? Because they don't believe enough to sustain the vision when everything seems to indicate the opposite. I've learned by observing people who transformed their lives. The difference between those who get there and those who fall by the wayside doesn't lie in talent or resources, but in the moment when belief merges with the idea. When this happens, you stop just dreaming and start living the energy of it. And in that state, life conspires in your favor. How many dreams have you let die because you didn't know how to realize them? How many times have you given up because you wanted guarantees before believing? If you continue acting this way, you will spend your whole life extinguishing possibilities ready to materialize. But if you decide today to merge with the idea that already resides within you, if you choose to believe before you see, you will discover that the impossible is nothing more than an illusion created by fear. Life always responds to the level of your belief. Within you is an invisible force that acts like a silent enemy. It doesn't wear a uniform, it doesn't present itself as a declared adversary, but every day it's there, deep in your mind, dictating what you can and cannot do. This enemy is called the paradigm. It's a mental program, a set of beliefs repeated so many times that they've become automatic. And it's not interested in your growth. On the contrary, it will fight to keep you in the same place. How many times have you woken up full of energy, thinking of changing your life, but within minutes that voice whispered, "You don't have the money for that. You don't know the right people." What if you fail? Has that voice paralyzed you? Has it made you give up before you even tried? That's how the paradigm works. It creates real physical sensations in you, like anxiety, fear, tightness in your chest. And all this not because you can't, but because you're trying to break free from an old programming. I remember nights when I would lie down thinking about radically changing my life. I dreamed of the freedom of having my own business, of not depending on a salary. But when I closed my eyes, I heard the other voice: "Who do you think you are? You didn't finish your studies. You don't have experience. You'll go into debt and regret it." There were times when I almost believed that voice more than the vision that called to me. There seemed to be two people in me, one that said, "Go ahead," and another that screamed, "Don't you dare." This conflict is more common than you imagine. Studies show that 95% of an adult's thoughts are automatic, repetitive, the same as yesterday. This means that a large part of your life is controlled by unconscious programs, not by conscious choices. That's why so many people repeat the same financial mistakes, the same bad relationships, the same unsustainable jobs. It's not bad luck, it's the paradigm. Think with me, how many times have you seen someone extremely talented, full of ability, but who never managed to progress? Perhaps you recognize yourself in this. The problem wasn't a lack of ability, it was the invisible force of the paradigm holding that person exactly where they were. It's like trying to drive with the parking brake on. You can accelerate, you can put in the effort, but you'll never get anywhere. The most insidious thing about the paradigm is that it doesn't present itself as an enemy. It disguises itself as logic, prudence, realism. When you think of starting something new and immediately, "Be realistic," pops up, it's not wisdom, it's the paradigm wanting to maintain control. It knows that if you believe in the new, it will lose control over your life. I had to learn to face this internal battle daily. There were times when I was about to give up because the pressure seemed unbearable. I remember one occasion when I had no idea how I would pay my bills. The paradigm screamed that I should go back to a stable job, that it was crazy to keep trying. But inside me, there was a small flame insisting on my firmness. I chose to trust that flame, even with fear, and that's exactly when doors began to open. If I had given in to that voice, nothing I built would have happened. Think of how many famous people succumbed to the paradigm. Elvis Presley, despite all his talent and success, lived tormented by insecurities and self-sabotage. Because he couldn't overcome the internal enemy, he ended up destroying himself. This proves that no matter how much you achieve in the external world, if you don't win the battle against the paradigm, sooner or later you will be defeated. How many dreams have you buried because the paradigm said it wasn't possible? How many opportunities did you let slip away because that voice convinced you to wait for the right moment? The truth is that moment never comes. The paradigm will always invent a new excuse to hold you back. This battle is not against the world, but against yourself. Not against your true self, but against the program installed throughout your life by parents, teachers, society. Every time you feel fear, doubt, or anxiety, it doesn't mean you're wrong to move forward. It just means you're challenging the paradigm. And this discomfort isn't a sign of failure, it's a sign of growth. If you want to unlock the life you truly desire, you need to take control of this fight. You need to face the internal enemy and say, "You don't control me anymore." Want to break free from old habits and build a life you love? The key isn't just wishing, it's commitment. We all know the difference between wanting $1 million and actually going after it. Wanting is easy, it's free, effortless. But wanting alone never built an empire, launched a rocket, or won an Olympic gold. Commitment does. Commitment is deciding something will happen, no matter what. It's drawing a line in the sand and saying, "This is non-negotiable." Your whole life starts aligning with that decision. I've seen it firsthand, not just in my own life but in the lives of remarkable people. I remember a close friend, an Olympic athlete, who won silver. Most would have accepted that, but he made a pact with himself, gold in 4 years. He had no resources, no financial backing, no ideal training conditions. But he had the decision. And when you truly decide, you find a way. He sought help, made deals, trained under almost impossible circumstances, and 4 years later, he won. The world called it luck, but I knew better. It was commitment. Think about your own life. How many times have you fervently wished for something, only to give up at the first hurdle? Weight loss, saving money, finishing that degree, changing careers, we've all been there. Why? Because most of us want it, but we don't commit. Without unwavering resolve, any obstacle feels insurmountable. Starting my first company was a brutal example. I was young, inexperienced, fueled by a dream and sheer grit. The challenges were immense. There were days I didn't know how I'd pay next month's bills. Giving up, getting a stable job, forgetting the whole thing, that was the easy path. But I made a commitment. I decided this was my path. And somehow, a solution, an opportunity, always appeared. Because when you decide, the universe seems to conspire in your favor. Modern psychology backs this up. Publicly committing to a goal dramatically increases your chances of success. Commitment changes your daily actions, your problem-solving approach. What once seemed impossible shrinks to a mere stepping stone. Oprah Winfrey didn't just wish to escape poverty. She relentlessly pursued her vision, facing criticism, prejudice, countless setbacks. Her goal wasn't optional, it was a decision. And the world had no choice but to acknowledge her unwavering determination. How do you know if you're truly committed? Look at your actions, not your words. If you only work when you're motivated, you're wishing. If you keep going even when it hurts, you're committed. Advancement only when convenient? Wishing. Pushing forward through the pain? Commitment. Identify something you've wanted for ages but haven't achieved. Be honest, do you want it, or are you committed to it? Because wanting will falter at the first obstacle. Commitment? Nothing stops it. The universe doesn't respond to weak desires, but to unshakable commitment. It doesn't move because you expect ease, it moves because you declared it would happen, period. Then people call it luck, coincidence, fate. But it's the reflection of an unwavering decision. How long will you keep wishing for things you never truly decide to achieve? How long will you settle for dreaming instead of committing? The life you want won't appear while you're just wishing. But the day you make an undeniable commitment, you'll see that no obstacle is too large for someone who's already decided. You must first envision your future as present reality before it manifests. Most people believe victory feels good only after the achievement. It's the other way around. You feel it first, you live it first, you embody it internally. Then the physical world responds. It's like a mirror. You don't wait for the reflection to smile back, you smile first. Science supports this. Studies show that mental visualization activates the same brain areas as physical training. Some athletes who only visualized their training achieved results similar to those who trained physically. The brain doesn't distinguish between real and intensely imagined experiences. Consistent visualization primes your body and mind, preparing them for reality. I've experienced this personally. Times felt impossible, lacking education, money, any reason to believe I'd succeed. But whenever I closed my eyes and inhabited the image of my desired future, I started moving as if it were already true. Then, the unexpected happened. People sought me out with ideas, opportunities I'd never planned for emerged. It was as if life was waiting for me to accept the mental reality first, then it delivered. Maybe you're doing the opposite. Reacting to circumstances, waiting for external changes to feel better. How many years have you spent in that cycle? When I have more money, I'll feel secure. When I have more time, I'll take care of myself. When I find the right person, I'll be happy. Waiting never delivers results. You create your future from within. When you choose to live the consciousness of your future in the present, everything shifts. Someone who desires prosperity but behaves like they are poor, feels guilty spending, speaks of scarcity, isn't living their desired future, they reinforce their unwanted present. Imagine someone else, grateful for small wins, carrying themselves like a winner, talking about goals as if already achieved. That energy is different. Life responds to energy, not complaints. William James, a pioneer of modern psychology, called acting, as if your desired self is already real, the most powerful technique. An actor doesn't pretend, they inhabit the role. Want success? Act successful. Want health? Act healthy. Want love? Treat yourself and others with love. The external world reflects your internal state. Nikola Tesla visualized his inventions so clearly they worked perfectly on the first try. He built them in his mind first. The system will fight you. It will say you're delusional, dreaming too big, that you shouldn't act as if you already have what you haven't yet achieved. But it's not delusion, it's preparation. Life doesn't deliver what you wish for sporadically, it delivers who you are, the state you maintain, the frequency you vibrate. Are you living as if you've already achieved it, or as if you're still waiting? Habiting your desired future mentally, or merely reacting to your disliked present? The answers show you exactly where you stand. The secret wasn't waiting for circumstances to change, it was changing your consciousness first. Living now what you wish to live tomorrow inevitably transforms tomorrow into a reflection of who you are today. Nothing in the universe changes until you change your internal frequency. Your future doesn't magically appear, it already exists, awaiting alignment. Believe, commit, act as if, and your entire life will reorganize itself to match. If this resonated, the next video will take you a step further on your journey. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.